So the thing is with what we do and how we work in the legislature, we demand an investigation into Fields' cases, which was already done right after Field was arrested. We were Johnny on the spot on that. Okay. So the other thing is on December 4th,
I've got a
Randy made the decision to get a hold of Russell, the Postmaster General. And so essentially, kind of what we had thought of and what was planned at that time was put on hold because we were told by Russell for everyone to stand down.
Right.
Do not interfere with what he has going on and what he's about to do. Okay, don't talk about it. None of that. Wasn't supposed to talk about it. We didn't.
I had already done my work. My work had already commenced.
Right, but I'm talking about Russell.
Oh, right.
So, people with good intentions, I'll give them that, still tried to do something and interfered with that process. Oops. Again, in my mind, still with good intentions and I believe good people, right? For the most part. But the thing was there was a timeline going on there, and that timeline got interrupted. Right. And well, other than that, it's still pending in the legislature, state of Florida, and they're looking into it.
Well, and again, what is that process and what does it look like? I'm going to show it again.
It should take some time, right?
Right. What did Bill Barr just say?
We're going after bad actors. We're not trying to necessarily free Field. It's much bigger than just freeing Field.
Right.
This is rounding up the bad actors so that these bad actors can't do this again to somebody else.
Right. So again,
this is why it takes a little while.
Right.
Because we're not just, motion to dismiss, get Field out. Man, I cannot believe I can't find that particular part that I'm looking for, and I may have to look more for it. But it basically says the part that I'm looking for is you can't make any kind of public disclosures regarding the case. And another part of it is they can extend it out as another 60 days and then another 60 days after that. But in part of it is the fact that when you initiate these investigations and stuff, it may take a while. It may take some time. Okay. The key is if you don't hear back from them declining, that's the key. Because they will tell you, we're not going to take this up. But you have the right to carry on and prosecute yourself. That's fine. But if you don't hear back from them, that means they've taken it up and they probably created a sealed indictment. Right? So it could be a while before these sealed indictments, if there are some, against bad actors in Tim's case, Field's case, and everybody else's cases that we've reported on. 370 of them here the other day? Ish. Okay. Tim's case and Field's case aren't the only ones we've worked on. So, this is much bigger than what people think. And again, this is how the administration of our government is supposed to work. And we're doing it. And they're loving it. We do have judges and even some members of the bar that are tearing up, throwing away their bar cards because they've done the research based on the evidence of the law that we have shown right here on this show. And they said, we went and verified what you guys are teaching here. And it's all true. This is coming from members of the bar.
Well, when we talk about what is due process, and these bar members talk about the 14th Amendment. No, that's the 6th Amendment, buddy.
Bingo.
Not the 14th Amendment.
No.
Anybody who knows anything about
Right.
the 14th Amendment has already figured that out. But the problem with it is nobody was doing this. So the court was literally stuck with the 14th Amendment. Again, it wasn't because they didn't want to, it was because everybody, including myself, was negligent in following due process of law. So, I said, okay, well, now that we know what the trespasses were and where they originated, what pillars of law they came from, now the clarity of the conduct of tyrants is becoming very clear, right? And politically advantageous to the current mechanism that's in power, which is Trump and the Republicans in the Senate. So, that's why I said you have to know and understand the complexities of what you're about to undertake. It's not an immediate return. That's why I said, I do get returns on some cases that were found to be, not correct for whatever the reason. We go back through and verify, right, that everything was done properly. And if we find there was a clerical error and mistake, we resubmit. I mean, it's just the way it works. That's the process. So, it's a whole, it's the whole thing. So the Sixth Amendment refers to due process against bad actors that are in government.
Yeah.
Right. So the people that are bound to the emoluments of that office. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So anyway, so the deal with Field here is the investigation is pending.
Yeah.
And those that have trespassed the law will be held liable.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we do.
Right.
That's due process of law, and that process takes a while. So otherwise, the clock's running out for them to get the grand jury indictment and then have the governor sign off on it.
Right. So as far as any complaints against me or my company is concerned, well, that's going to be problematic for anybody who wants to file those for two reasons. Number one, I'm not a member of the bar. I'm incorporated in law. These judges are smart. They know what that means, right? They know who's telling them the truth and who's bullshitting them.
Right.
They figured this out. They've said, well, yeah, all this guy wants to do is go back to work. Are you kidding me? Yeah. In the meantime, while you're here, dude, tell us more about these emoluments violations.
Right.
We want to hear about this stuff. So, okay. I'm so to any of them who are watching, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you guys are enjoying the show, and we're doing the best we can. And so, but I mean, in the short run, the best thing you guys can do is get your cover letters ready to go, right? And get those sent out, and that will at least begin, right? Because remember, anybody who's ever worked in a job where you had to wait on a customer, what's the first thing you say? Hello, how are you? You have a meet and greet, right? That's what your cover letter is. That's your meet and greet. Hello, how are you? This is who I am, right? This is reason that I'm here. And, the remonstrance or whatever you're going to do will be forthcoming as you go through and you work through the process with them, right? We showed it even in the court rules. There has to be a meeting. So, if as long as you're cordial to them and don't act stupid, they'll have a meeting with you.
Right.
Just because remember, these people don't know you. Why should I talk to this person? That's a pretty good question, especially with everything going on right now and the way the politics is. So,
Yep.
It's a, things got out of hand because we let them get out of hand. It's our own fault. So, you got to accept that responsibility and, go in there and go, well, dude, we've all been lied to. So, well, good news is at least we know what that thing is called now. And oh, by the way, those are not entitlements. Those are called emoluments, by the way. So, good call. So get that word back into circulation, right? That's one of them right there. That's why I say anybody who is crafty enough to structure an entire branch of government around the non-use of the word emolument, that's a crafty bastard, if you ask me. So, I'm the first one to say that, I'm actually at least of average intelligence, but, these people were off the charts intelligent. So, the fact that I was able to catch them in the act with their hand in the cookie jar, say what you want about my, where I am as far as on the IQ chart goes. But, simple fact of the matter is the fact that I figured it out, that's only proves that this was the job I was always doing. So
right.
It's, it's just, it is what it is. But I think we've pretty much kicked another Monday night, haven't we?
Yeah, I just wanted to go over the TCH stuff, the false statements made by that. We need to clarify all that.
Right.
Which I've got that.
Yeah, you got all that stuff up there, right?
Yeah. So, did Kirk Pendergrass E-Claus travel to Wisconsin for the immediate express purpose of assisting former U.S. Marine Field McConnell? He says yes. And the answer is not exactly. It was much more than just coming to help Field, because, again, didn't know he was going to get arrested, right? So that wasn't even in the thoughts. That happened the next day after I got there.
Right.
Number 2, did E-Claus CEO Christopher Hallett know Kirk Pendergrass was traveling to Wisconsin to assist Field McConnell? Yeah, of course he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah. How long did Kirk Pendergrass tell Field McConnell he was going to be in Wisconsin? 4 to 6 months. Yeah, sure did. Okay. How long did Kirk Pendergrass stay in Wisconsin? He arrived on November 4th. Technically, that would be November 3rd and departed on December 23rd, approximately 6 weeks. Right? Mm-hmm. Went home for Christmas.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to take the holiday.
I don't know. The choice of sitting in an empty house all by myself.
Right.
Or going home for Christmas and seeing my family.
Right. Exactly. So, mind you, of course, let's clarify the reason that you were going there, because the reason you went there was locked within these 3 books.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, again, this is the process that's due, right? Because this is what we do. This is what we know.
Right.
Right. So the fact that it pisses off bar members, I could care less. But this is the thing that we were headed to do. So not to put too fine a point on that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So yeah, the plan was to stay there for 4 to 5, no more than 6, because don't want to be gone from home that long. But
right,
the plan was to set up a school down there in Field's other portion of the building there, nice large room there, and was going to set up a school there and bring people in and do part of the CPS reporting that Trump has asked the American people to report on CPS. Okay.
Yep.
That was part of the plan. And so, again, it wasn't just about going there expressly for the purpose of assisting Field. No, this was much bigger than just that. Okay. And so that kind of got put on a damper with Field going to jail, right? Again, didn't know he was going to be going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
No clue, right?
I had no idea.
I had just gotten there the day before.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Imagine that. Corruption. Moving on.
Number 5. Did Kirk Pendergrass announce his departure? Who in the hell do I need to tell that I'm going home for Christmas? And not only that, again, when I make my movements and travel around and exercise my right of personal liberty, I don't like to tell people what I'm doing, where I'm going until after I've gotten to my destination. Right? Maybe that's just my
I call it
military mind, but called being covert.
I wasn't aware you needed to seek permission from your neighbor to do that.
Right. Well, I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you just didn't need to seek my permission. I was like, yeah, dude, it's a holiday. Go home.
Right.
Say hi to mom and your brother for me. Yeah.
Right. Now here's the other part. He departed with privately donated items, including a computer. If it was privately donated, that means it's mine. So by your own admission and statement, kick rocks. It was privately donated. Plain and simple. Done deal.
Well,
no
and
argument.
Again,
any kind of argument about that, I stole it, is moot. And that would be a what?
False claim.
False statements. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Put that in an affidavit of truth signed under penalty of perjury and send that through to me. But the problem is, you've already posted this publicly. You just lost all rights to a cause of action because you violated my right to due process of law. This is defamation of character. I'm teaching you folks right now how to deal with this crap. Okay? Told you we were going to set an example here.
Right.
So this is prima facie evidence that Timothy Charles Holmseth violated my rights to due process of law by publicly publishing defamation of character, because you're supposed to, right, put people on notice in the private. Go watch Friday Night Fun Nights show, the one we just did, over evidence. The requirement of the law in the private to put your fellow man on notice, right? Actually, what this does is creates a right to a cause of action for me.
That would be reus excipiendo fit actor for libel, correct? So,
what was that? Right. Never mind.
Yeah, defended by plea or exception becomes plaintiff.
Yep. Did E-Clause acquire power of attorney for Field McConnell?
E-Clause did not.
Nope. E-Clause did not acquire, and neither did I. But here's the key. We had, again, discussed going and getting a power of attorney for Field, for me, after, on Monday, when we were down there talking with Field, okay, to go get a power of attorney after the live broadcast. We were going to take care of that day. And then what happened? He got arrested before we even went inside to go live. It was like, just before it. So the other thing is I did draft up a power of attorney, and Randy and I went down to the sheriff's department and tried to send it in, and they refused. Right. I made a phone call. Oh, well, you could send it in through the mail, and, because it's got to be signed and notarized. And so basically I knew the sham was going on. They're trying to keep anybody. But here's the thing that I found out later. All sorts of people got powers of attorney. Get too many chiefs, not enough Indians. So where are all the people doing something for Field with those powers of attorney? Oh, that's right.
Why was that not disclosed?
I'm just going to let that go right there.
Well, why was that not disclosed when we were brought into this?
Bingo.
What's one of the first rules of my practice? Full disclosure.
Right.
I've been an asshole about full disclosure.
Yeah. Now here's the number 7 here. Did E-Clause file any documents with the state or federal courts on behalf of Field McConnell? No. See, there again, there's the half-truth. Yeah. How long you been following us, Tim? How many hours have I spent on the phone with you and Randy? How many hours has Chris spent with you guys on the phone in Zoom trying to explain the fundamental principle that we go to the legislature with the redress of grievances?
And
As
all
the letter
of the history
of the
that goes with
says,
that.
as it is written, and you can't even comprehend that basic fundamental principle, and then try and twist it to mean we didn't do anything for Field? Liar.
I call bullshit.
Number 8, did E-Clause present themselves to the public as representing Field McConnell? Yes, and we still are.
It's already out there.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Number 9, did E-Clause claim to be working on behalf of Field McConnell behind the scenes and discuss strategies wherein the purported to be preparing documents for the state and federal courts on behalf of Field McConnell? Yes.
No, not the court. Why?
No. Right.
We don't go to the court. We go to the legislature.
Right.
It's the judicial oversight mechanism, because where was the crime scene? It wasn't in Wisconsin. It was here.
This is where they're confused. Okay. 2 different capacities for, like in Tim's case, where I had the durable power of attorney. In fact, that's one capacity, acting on behalf of Tim. E-Clause is a separate capacity. And again, we've explained this to them over and over. And he's actually put it out there that we come in and we do an audit of the entire record of who did what, where, and when. And we gather documents and we file that in where? The legislature.
Right.
I know that he has said this. I know that he has put this out. So I know that he knows this. Maybe he forgot. I don't know what's going on over there. But the fact is, that's 2 separate capacities and dealings. Okay.
Right.
Now the difference is I didn't have a power of attorney for Field here. And not only that, again, there is nothing that can be filed in the judicial branch. He is under extradition, hold, without bond. Yes, it's all fraud. Yes, it's corruption.
Agreed.
We're dealing with corruption. They do whatever they want to do, and they play the game of catch me if you can. Now, have any of you filed anything in the legislature on Field's behalf? No,
I know they haven't.
Hey, Tim, have you filed anything in the legislature on your own behalf? No, you haven't.
So, again, let's look at what is an emoluments violation, right? That's what they are. That's what they look like, right? That's the scheme, scam, and fraud. That perpetuity outside the rule of law. Everything from the emolumentum word to the right, including the benefit, that's the perpetuity, how they're paying themselves in the private. That's the star chamber, right? That's the scheme, scam, and fraud. It is what it is.
Yep. And when it's fraud vitiates everything from its inception and is void for any effect.
Right. So is it
I don't mess around with things that I know that are fraudulent. Kick rocks.
Right. So
I'm not going to waste my time on it.
Right. This is how you would reverse engineer the Declaration of Independence. Right here.
Right.
So, again, I don't know any other way to put that any more comprehensively than I already have. But I can tell you right now, that thing is an antivirus program is doing exactly what I've told it to do. It's running its course, and there's a lot of bad actors that are about to go down, and Bill Barr just said it. These things take time.
Right. Right. So back to that
Imagine
is the fact that I told him when I started doing all the research on extradition, and oh crap, we can't file anything here. And I told him that. Like, oh crap, no, we can't do a motion for dismissal. They're not going to entertain that. And then we went to court on December 2nd. The judge just reiterated. And these people just, I don't know, didn't listen to me, didn't listen to the judge in the court, seem to think that we're all full of shit. We don't know what we're talking about. And we're going to go ahead and file a motion for dismissal. And
right.
the clerk of the court said no.
What have we been saying? Listen to what the judge tells you. If the judge tells you that's not the right church, go to the right church. Right. You're not even in the right church, let alone the right pew.
Yeah.
Go to the legislature with that grievance.
So the next one is, did Kirk Pendergrass reside in Field McConnell's home the entire time he was in Wisconsin? Yeah, but what the hell does that have to do with anything?
Price of tea in China.
It's completely irrelevant.
You were a guest. You were invited. Hello.
That's right. I was welcomed by Field himself. And was asked if I was still going to stay even with all the shit going on.
Right.
Right? Okay, so let's see. Did Field McConnell believe E-Claus was representing him? Yes. And yep, sure are. And we're in contact with Field, and he's well aware of what we're doing. I wouldn't say well aware. I would say he's aware because, again, where he's at. And here's the key that we've been trying to tell Timothy for months. You don't disclose to your enemies what you're doing. Notice we're not even talking about it here. What little tidbit we're dropping ain't nothing.
No.
Right? We don't go out there and blab our mouth about what's going on and write crap like this, defamation of character of your fellow man.
Yep.
That's morally ethically wrong and violates your fellow man's right to due process of law.
Right.
So, this is a great one. Oh, wait, next one. Let's just do number 12 first. Did Kirk Pendergrass attend Field McConnell's most recent court hearing? No. Yeah, that was the for the House thing. And again, another one of those way too many chiefs and not enough Indians. I didn't want to be a part of that because I told him that in the beginning.
Again,
I don't know anything about real estate stuff. That was Frank's forte. And then how long did we spend on the hour with the one with the power of attorney? The one that claims, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm doing. The one that did the motion for dismissal that got denied by the clerk because they were told they couldn't entertain it. They can't even file anything there. Right. And she was told to draft up a contract. And here are certain things that you need to put in there. Get back to us. I was on the phone with that conversation. Where I just sat there and again, trying to learn.
Over and above that, what did she need me for if she already had the power of attorney? That would have been a little repugnant, don't you think?
Well, yeah, I would think so.
So,
and then here's the thing is at the court, it's like, yeah, we'll pay the back taxes on what's owed. And, so it's like, wait a minute.
That I had no idea.
4 years worth of back taxes.
Yeah. I had no idea about any of that. Yeah. I wasn't told about any of that from the inception of this. That's why I said failure to disclose.
I know, right? So another thing is that, again, the question is why did this go on for so long with the power of attorney who claims she knows what she's doing, and then ultimately they just go in there and beg for more time to pay it when you've had 4 years to take care of it as they came up, 2016 taxes. So this was the ongoing question we had was, why wasn't these property taxes paid? Who was telling him not to pay?
What you do is you do what I did. You put the money in escrow and you roll it over. That's why I said they want to play perpetuity. I know how to play perpetuity with you. I'm really good at that. There's these funky accounts called escrow accounts. Well, you put the money in the escrow account, two things happen. Number one, it's secured. for its quote unquote intended purpose should it be needed. Here's the other thing that happens that's really cool. It grows interest.
Right.
Son of a bitch.
Right. Okay, so number 14, this gets interesting here. Was E-Clause involved with the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, PPTF, that planned to secure Field McConnell's release from the foreign vessel in dry dock where Field McConnell is being held as cargo? No. No, because, again, that was December 4th, 2 days after the court hearing, granting the... Right? And that was the Postmaster General, Russell. That had nothing to do with the E-Clause.
Yeah, that's his deal.
Yeah.
If he asks me for my help, you bet your ass I'll be there to help him.
Don't interfere.
Yeah.
Right? All of us were told, don't interfere. I even put out an email for everyone to stand down, stop doing anything that you might think you could do for Field, and let this mission, this plan, this mission, and let it be executed in the way that it was planned.
Right.
But we, again, had people interfere with that, and it screwed it up.
Right.
So, hence, Field still sits in jail. The second part of that, number 14, E-Clause was not part of the task force operation. E-Clause did not know Field McConnell was on a foreign vessel in dry dock as cargo. They learned it later from an expert that was advising the task force.
I didn't know he was on a boat anywhere.
That I talked to on the phone that you tried to keep me from talking to?
Yeah, I didn't know anybody was in a dry dock anywhere.
No, I just, some shit made up going on over here.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
PPTF.
That's why I said that's the stuff that makes my brain hurt when I have to listen to it. It's like, you can't be serious.
Better get your paperwork in order over there, PPTF.
Yeah, you did not just.
Did E-Clause promise task force members they were taking court action on behalf of Field McConnell? Yep, in the legislature. But then they say many, many times, e.g., writ of habeas corpus. That's right. December 2nd, we talked about doing the writ of habeas corpus. December 4th, we were told to stand down because Randy's in charge. Randy's got this. Yeah.
What are we doing? In the
meantime,
is
the task force involved in any plan to use badge from Congress to
in
arrest
the meantime,
anybody? No. Well, he changed his wording. He went in and edited this because now it's not even talking about a car. Because you claim that I stole the car, stole a computer, and anyway, I have it.
Point is,
but you were told by your commander to take all this down. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your alleged commander isn't your commander.
Right. Well, again, I don't have it here.
You're acting on your own, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to leave it at that. But then here it is. The PPTF severed relations with E-Clause LLC. Okay.
Be careful what you wish for, kid. You might get it.
Remember, you're the one that severed the ties, not E-Clause, by your own public posting right here. And I'm going to need your Tim, your address so that I could mail you a lawful notification letter informing you that I've rescinding the power of attorney that's been properly recorded at the county recorder's office with an actual attorney number, because it's a durable power of attorney. In fact, I am the attorney for Timothy Charles Holmseth. It's a contract, and there shall be no law impairing the obligations of a contract.
Right.
So, make no mistake, E-Clause is still working on Field's behalf in the background, doing what? Following due process of law and doing exactly what E-Clause was lawfully created to do. And again, following due process of law.
Oh, that would be...
process we've been teaching for almost 3 years.
Right. This right here. The letter of the law. Okay. Well, I can definitely follow the letter of the law. No getting around that. So, why? Because these are what? These are not judicial arguments. They're political arguments. Because these judicial shit made up Star Chamber courts are the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing Sharia law. What part of that don't you understand? So, under what? Section 2, basic rights, claiming and exercising that. I can do that. Here's another thing that's going to piss off the bar, and I don't give a rat's ass about that, but it says Article 1, Section 6, right to work. That's in the letter of the law, buddy. That's what I said. I made this so easy for the court. It was crazy for them to not want to say, okay, we're going to follow the letter of the law on it, right? So,
well, that's the thing. That is the law. You're reading from the Bill of Rights. That's a Declaration of Rights, laying down the law.
Isn't that
People
what that
do not
mandate
quite
says?
comprehend that.
Isn't that what that mandate says? Follow the law and the rules of the court?
Yeah, what I'm talking about here is when you're reading a state constitution more specifically, because
well,
and
that's
I've
what
actually
that is.
I stand corrected on this. I will have to say most all of state constitutions, Article 1 is a Declaration of Rights or Bill of Rights, which is a declaration. That's how you lay down the law. That's the law. And then Article 2 through the rest is what institutes government to secure that law. Because that's how it's done in law for a long time.
Right. So when that mandate says to
law
me,
of nations and creating a nation and how governments work, law has always been, according to even Black's Law Dictionary, law, that which is laid down, ordained, or established, not congressional acts.
Right. Well, and again, when it says follow the law in the rules of the court, I can certainly handle that. Because I don't have the rest of those other problems. The only problem I have is this bar shit made up. Trump has that same problem. Every one of you guys have that same problem. I think I see a pattern forming here. So
why doesn't Trump just shut down the fake impeachment? We know it's bad. We know it's wrong. We know it's unlawful. We know it's fraud. Why doesn't Trump just shut it down?
Do you think, can he do that?
No, he sure can't.
Not without a court order.
No, that process has nothing to do with the judicial branch. Remember,
again, not without
political
a court
argument,
order.
not a judicial one.
Remember, what did Bill Barr say? Bill Barr said the Constitution gives the executive and the legislative branches enough clubs to beat each other over the head with, right? So that's what that's the way he put it. I love that. That's my favorite line.
Exactly.
You know, Bill, I'll tell you, every word you say, I'm going to take to my grave with me, dude. I'm taking notes, man. So just know it.
And yeah, we're watching you, Mr. Barr.
Yep. So we love
you,
work, dude. So
we love that stuff, man. You've got that common sense,
right? Wait a minute. Got one of those. Thomas Paine's Book of Common Sense, right there.
Imagine that.
So, ironically enough, there's more than enough crap for Congress and Trump to beat each other over the head with. It's finally when the court says, "Okay, that's it. Time out. You over there, and you both sit down and both shut up." That's really what's going to happen. That's about the only thing that the court can do. So, because this is a political argument, and even the legislators have said, hey, elections have consequences. You want your republic, go vote for a Republican and keep it.
Yep.
Exercise your political power. So,
So I want to explain my leaving fields, right? I had read the court minutes from the court record from the previous court hearing where the judge had said, we can seize the house because you're in violation of one of the terms and conditions of the mortgage contract. And this is the funny part is Randy and I had discussed this and said, well, yeah, redemption granted for 6 months, that is to redeem the house after it's taken. because that's called redemption, right? And I've seen this happen before firsthand. Okay. So I was a little worried that they were going to come the next day and take the house, regardless of whether or not they got a 6-month redemption. 6-month redemption means you got 6 months to redeem it by paying, right? And so this is one of those instances, again, where, as bad as we talk about some judges, okay, the prosecutor wanted 3 months for redemption, and the judge says, I think I'm going to grant him 6 months to redeem, probably given the fact that he's locked up and, 6 months to right to a speedy trial and blah, blah, blah. And at least, thinking in his mind. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due there. He gave 6 months instead of 3. So that's good. But in my mind, I thought, well, yeah, that means they're going to come take the house and you got 6 months to redeem it. And I know how it works. They come in. Mm-hmm. If you're in there, they toss you out. You don't get to grab anything. None of your personal belongings.
Well, again,
you're gone. You're out of here.
Again, again, we get back to that lack of disclosure, right? I can't do anything if I don't know what the hell is going on.
Right. And
that's the reason that this is called an audit. Right. So, that's why I said, the judges have told you, Kirk has told you, I'm telling you, tell the damn truth for the love of God, whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for you, get it out on the table.
Yep. Yeah, that little piece of the truth there where, I still have the document of the writ of habeas corpus that I'd started creating and all the research that I've done behind it. Many, many hours of digging and researching and, a good 50 plus hours. So anyways, that was, on December 2nd. On December 4th, we were told to stop everything because, we got it handled. We got Russell. That was Randy. So that's what stopped doing the writ of habeas corpus. Okay?
Well, again, what I've already done is already done. It's already in motion, right?
Right. I know.
The only one that could stop that would be the man himself. And I don't think he's going to stop it. Not as long as they got his ass, not as long as there's a corruption going on down there. So, again, look, this is not the job I wanted. I wanted to do this for the private sector, which is where I was before these dumb shits walked in and trespassed the law. You remember the Constitution.
Yeah.
The problem with it is they didn't realize that they were playing monopoly corporation with loss prevention. Mm-hmm. That's problematic for them.
Right.
So,
and then further discussion it came down to the end of it was Randy's the one that's in charge. And I said, okay, nice, politely, I was actually a fairly nice, polite conversation for the most part. And she went off on me and said she was in charge. And I'm just like, okay, let's see how much you're in charge, because you're not in charge of E-Clause. She'd already been told several times. She is not in charge of E-Clause. Plain and simple. Not one bit are you in charge of E-Clause. You don't get to dictate to E-Clause what we do and how we do it, where we do it. The agreement between you and I was that you were to fund me personally, privately, to do what I'm already doing, whatever I needed, right? Not what you said? It's what you've been doing?
Well, not to put too fine a point on this.
There's no employment contract here. You didn't employ me to do specific things.
Right. That name, E-Clause, and that name, Christopher Hallett, I don't see anybody but those two things on this page. So anybody laying claim to that, except for Christopher Hallett.
Except for Florida Department of State.
And the Florida Department of State, because that's who my contract is with. You got a problem. Because I can tell you right now, you're going to commit corporate wrongdoing against the CEO? Wrong answer. I will roll right over your ass. I got some news for you. So just know it's coming.
So right after that happened, immediately I called Chris and said, hey, this is what's going on, which actually I constant communication with Chris, telling him what's going on, play by play. So he knew what was going on and how things have been over several months with trying to tell them to stop posting stuff on Facebook and YouTube and BitChute or whatever, just stop.
Right.
They cannot get these people to stop posting garbage like this here.
Well,
again, now they're doing it to me and E-Claus.
Well, again, that's why I said, if anybody's thinking they're going to try to get a rise out of me, good luck with that. I could care less. I know what I know. The court knows what the court knows. All the way up to the Florida Supreme Court. They know what they know. Here's what they see. They see me coming out and saying, thank you for helping us out. We really appreciate it. Now we know where we're going in the legislature, because that's where this shit started while we were at work all day long. In other words, I walked in there and said, what can I do to help you? Well, there's something that they're not used to hearing. And that's when they said, hey, dude, stand over there. Let us know what you find.
Yeah.
I can certainly do that. So, again, it was, does any of this crap have to do with Christina? Hell no. This has to do with those bad actors in those word salad agencies that we knew were going to be problematic. Going back to the New Deal of FDR, but again, I digress.
Right. So I called Chris, right?
Yeah.
And we discussed it, and was concerned that they may come the very next day to take the house. And I'd already previously discussed with a few other people and thought it would probably be best, at least at the bare minimum, to pack up all my stuff.
Right.
Some of that stuff that was donated to me, the computer.
Well, you did the job. You went there, you did the job.
Well, that wasn't all that was planned to be done, but because
you're not the one who changed what was going on.
Right. I couldn't change the situation. But
yeah, that stuff happened outside of your, you had nothing to do with that. You walked in there to do the job. And next thing you know, you've got 10 people telling you, no, you're going to do this. No, you're going to do that. No, you're going over here. No, you're going over there. Whoa. Time out.
Right. So, okay. So, from there, basically it was discussed that, hey, you know what? Actually, I'd really like to go home for Christmas. I'd like to go see my family. It's been, not only was it almost 2 months at that particular point in time, but I'd already been out on the road for Tim in Minnesota for, let's see, what? April, May, June, July, August. Yeah. 5 months. So pretty much more than half of 2019, I spent away from my home.
Right.
Okay. So on behalf of Timothy, and then now for Field, but okay. So, I wanted to go home for Christmas, and after the conversation that Chris and I had, it's like, look, what else can you do there? Actually, there isn't much I can do right now.
Yeah. Go see your family.
Go see your family.
Yeah.
Okay.
You being there is not going to serve any lawful purpose. Again, why? Because Wisconsin is only the second half of the crime scene. The original trespass happened here in Florida. So, that's why I said, right, wrong church, wrong pew. Oh, well, take that to the legislature, right? So,
right. So, let me try and finish this here. So anyway, basically it was decided that I would go home for Christmas, and then I could come back, right? because I thought maybe something was going to happen, but I later found out that it got messed up. So anyway, I don't tell people, I don't plaster it all over the internet that I'm leaving, where I'm going, what I'm doing, right? That's just not who I am, and I've been that way for a long time. I just go. Who needs to know?
Well,
right?
I didn't know you needed to seek permission from your neighbor
to
get in the car and go down the road.
Right. I get it. Fields puppy dogs, and I love them dogs. Radar and Diesel. I love them dogs, man. And I'm a dog lover. Okay. I've had 4 labs in my life, and I really miss my Frisbee dog, purebred black lab female. Had her she was 16 and a half years old. I had her for 14 years. And my ultimate best friend. But I know what it takes to take care of a dog. Okay. And I'd been there for, over 6 weeks. I knew exactly how much food they eat in a day in a 24-hour period. Okay. And it travel time from where I was at there in Wisconsin back to Idaho, roughly 24 hours, 23 something hours. But, it took me 26 hours with the weather and a 4-hour nap. I took 1 4-hour nap in a 26-hour period to get home for Christmas. And I got here my time a quarter to midnight. So I got here 15 minutes before Christmas. And my plan was to let them know once I reached my destination. I made sure there was sufficient food and water. That's only the ultimate real concern was the dogs. I mean, in my mind, right? But see, I ensured all that before I left because I think of other things besides myself.
Right.
Like cleaning up after myself before I didn't just leave Field's house in a mess.
Right.
I picked up what little messes I had, put things back in order the way it was where I found it, right? Cleaned up what little messes I had and left it. That's just the way I was raised, right? So I was planning on coming back, and I probably will come back, but it's going to be coming back for Field and probably trying to do the plan that we had, which was to do a school in the other half of the building there. So
to teach what we're teaching now. If you have a grievance,
exactly, want to train
a bad actor in government,
and not only that, to report on CPS cases that President Trump has put out there. He wants us to report on them. But this is kind of a bad time of year over that area. Holy smokes! It's super cold, lots of snow. Here's another thing is like once I left. Once that conversation you and I had, and it was like, go home for Christmas. And I got home for Christmas. I got to see my family. And man, I can tell you what, my stress level has dropped to almost freaking nothing.
Yeah.
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. And, I'm the kind of guy that I like to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. I don't like people dictating to me what to do, where to do it, how to do it. I like my privacy. I'll be honest, I can't stand roommates. I just can't.
Right.
I mean, I've had some fairly good roommates, but most of them are pretty freaking messy. I was raised to cook, to clean, to do laundry starting at like 8 years old. Okay. You piss all over the toilet, you freaking clean it up. Now, not fucking a month from now.
Right.
So. I don't know. I have to give it to my mom. She used to clean houses professionally for rich people, and man, are they picky.
Yeah. I don't know about you.
I helped her on several occasions because of the way we were raised, doing chores. We actually had a chore list up on the frickin' wall.
Right.
Who did what on what day of what week.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I keep them as souvenirs. Remember, you ever get a wooden yardstick busted across your ass when you were a kid?
I don't know about a yardstick, but
Yeah,
I've been whipped with tree limbs and
samurai sword right here, baby.
axe handle.
So yeah,
wooden paddles.
Yep.
But anyways,
typical boy. So, I'm the first to admit it.
The fact that not fact, well, it is a fact that they're saying that I abandoned field. I did not abandon field, and I told them, and especially some of the key people, no, I did not abandon field, and that was right from the get-go because I received a phone call on the road. No. Right. My plan was to contact first a couple key people once I made it back safe, because here again, because of Timmy out there running his mouth, bringing out all these trolls, getting death threats, right? We're dealing with some seriously evil people.
Right.
It only behooves one to think that they might want to be quiet about what they're doing in their personal private life.
Right.
Only makes common sense to me. So,
yeah.
That's the reasons, basically, right there is the reasons why I left. And ultimately, the main reason, I want to go home for Christmas to see my family. You know what?
Imagine that.
I've been out on the road for about 7 months out of this year.
It's more than half the year, home. Kirk. You need to go home. You got to unwind, right? You got to, everybody has to go home at the end of the day from work. You have to do that. Right. So, I mean, it is what it is. Well,
what you went there to do,
going home. Yeah, what you went there to do, and the corruption that had already set in before you were even invited, was, again, in order for that to happen the way that it did, that had to be set in motion long before even the arrangements were made, unbeknownst to every one of us. So there was no way of knowing that happened. It was going to happen that way.
Yeah.
Hence the whole corruption thing and the Sharia law shit. So, yes, are they pissed at me because I figured them out? Yep, they sure are. Do I care? Nope. Don't care.
So, from here on out, essentially, Tim, you're on your own, dude. Your actions, not mine. Your actions. After everything that I've done for you, right? In your defense. Remember, I'm the one that saved your life and got you out of jail.
Well,
because I guarantee you, if I wouldn't have filed that paperwork that I did file, that Chris and I worked on 6 hours straight on what was left that needed to be done.
Not counting what I've already submitted to the legislature at my own expense.
Well, I'm just talking about in the court, right?
Saying.
That's separate. I was doing that under the power of attorney. Again, we work in the legislature,
right?
Which E-clause working in the legislature, which goes through Chris when it's me and Chris. I'm the guy that does the audit and gets the paperwork and sends it over to Chris. Chris is the one that files it. That's the internal workings of E-clause that nobody out there is entitled to those documents. No. You're not entitled to that.
Well,
that's like McDonald's internal working paperwork, whatever. Can you walk into McDonald's as a customer? Hey, can I get a hamburger and some fries and a milkshake? And oh, by the way, you got your documents in there? I want to see your documents. What?
It's, God, amazing how we would be on the same page with that. I was putting together some notes for a
Big Mac secret sauce there. See, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Right?
Exactly it.
Right there.
We're not going to disclose exactly who we work with, who we're talking with, who we're, filing little bits of paperwork here and there. You're not entitled to that.
It is what it is. So,
Make no mistake, though, folks, your right to petition the government, the legislature, with the redress of grievances is a fact of law as it is written. First Amendment says you have the right to redress government grievances, right? And see, they leave out the word legislature